Hello, fine people. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the career and finance core and how it is being affected by us slowly starting to creep our little way out of quarantine and enter it in the real world. Some countries doing it a lot faster than others, some states, some cities, depending on where you live. Obviously, in the US, it's a little bit different than the rest of the world in that we're leaving it up to the local governors. And so some people are basically jumping right back into work like this week after being quarantined for quite a while. And others, don't even have an end in sight or are saying maybe June 1st. That's what in Chicago, Illinois, that's what they're saying with us. So I want to kind of just share a story with you on how career and finance is just an example of how this is being affected in a way that people probably don't think about. So let's talk about the youth, the future of career and finances of the country that's going to either make or break us moving forward as we continue on. And something that people probably don't think too much about is, if you're not somebody that's in high school or college, is the fact that you're not getting to experience these great times, these rites of passage, right? Spring break. I ran into my neighbor the other day, and she tells me that she had just started at Miami of Ohio, which is my wife's alma mater as well, which I knew, and she loved it, and she'd met a great group of friends in her hall, and they had just planned the perfect spring break in Florida, and they were just about to go, and boom, the coronavirus hit, ended up having a Zoom call for their spring break instead. She does not highly recommend that to anybody, and I'm sure there's tons and tons of colleges, students all over the country and world that had to do the same thing. And that got me thinking about the graduation aspect. These poor high schoolers and college kids that are going to miss out on this rite of passage, right? This is such a quintessential moment in a person's life because you've blood, sweat, tears, you've toiled to get through and push, and it's such a huge accomplishment of symbolizing your momentum and your growth, and then all of a sudden that's being yanked right away from you, and it's like, okay, I'm supposed to just get this little piece of paper in the mail, and that's that. So I totally get both sides of how this is frustrating people. I've seen protesters saying, parents especially of these kids, saying this is ridiculous. These kids need to have a graduation. This is not right. And then I've also, as I just said, on the other side, see that there's, it is dangerous, and getting people in a huge group does not make a lot of sense without sort of a plan and measures. So one thing I want to put out in the universe that I heard that I thought was a great way to walk the line is basically having drive-through graduations. I just happened to read this morning, and I think it's such a clever idea of basically continuing to have that communal kumbaya, hurrah, hurrah feeling of the graduation, right? And sharing it with the people that you've gone through this with, but also still being safe. So maybe you have, they didn't get into details, but I can imagine it's maybe there's social distancing for some sort of spectator crowd where people can be there, families and stuff, but just separated. So maybe it's in a huge field or some big open area, and then literally like a McDonald's drive-through, but hopefully a little bit more glamorous. You have the person handing out the diplomas, and obviously wearing protective gear and being precautious, and then the students can either have their family, their friends in the car, whatever, and they can kind of enjoy it and celebrate it that way. I thought that was really neat. I hope that they work something out similar to that. I'm not an expert, so maybe I'm missing some things where that could be troublesome. Feel free to share in the comments if you're seeing something that I'm missing, but I think that if they do it right, that could be a really neat solution to it. So feel free to share any of your comments and suggestions, like I said, about that, or any of these rites of passage that people are being forced to give up right now. Try to relate it to the career and finances, which is the theme of our core this week. And don't forget to go to www.moremomentum.com to take your free Life Evaluator Quiz, figure out where you stand in each of your 5 cores so you can fire on all cylinders. See you next time. Thanks.
Get moving, build momentum, join the movement. Go to moremomentum.com to take a free Life Evaluator Quiz on where you currently stand in each of your 5 cores.